Fourth graders, hey, how's it going? Lesson 7.13 coming up here. It is our final lesson in Unit 7 before we get into the review and then the assessment that follows. So let's look at the math message here. I would like for you to read this math message to yourself and then try to figure out the answer to the question. Well, how in the world could this be possible? Solomon says 2 4/8. Sadie says 2 1/2. What we can think about here is our equivalent fractions, right? 2 4/8 and 2 1/2 are equivalent fractions. Remember our equivalent fraction rule from way back in unit number 3, how we can test this? Well, if we can multiply the same number on the top and on the bottom, and it works, which it does here, right? 1 times 4 equals 4, 2 times 4 equals 8, then those are equivalent. So they're both right. Now, I will tell you, Sadie's is a little bit better because that is what's called lowest terms, but not going to talk a lot about that here in 4th grade. 5th grade will, though, and that's coming up. All right, well, just a reminder about our rulers here. Now, 4th grade, we are going to focus on the halves, the fourths, and the eighths. There are some tiny 16ths in there that we don't quite focus on. And the reason that these are where they are, this is just like a number line. This is why we talked about this when we were doing those fractions on a number line. So if I have 0 and I have 1, and if I do 8 jumps, 1, 2, 3, trying to do them equal, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Then each spot where I landed, right, that's 1/8. You see it there. That's 2/8. 2/8 is equal to 1/4. 3/8, and so on, right? There's that 4/8, which equals 1/2, like we were talking about. Okay, so 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. Let's make sure we know how to measure. So we're going to measure some of these guys here. Let's put that one down there for a minute. We're going to measure this one here. Mr. White's going to measure this one. So this is, it's hard to get right on there, isn't it? Whoop. Okay, did the best I can. This is between 1 and 2, right? So it's more than 1 than less than 2. So the whole number will be 1. And then this is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8 is in the middle, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. 1 7/8 inches. I'm going to do one more. You're going to do the next 2. All right, boom, right here. And this one is actually the easiest one. Well, maybe not as easy as if it's just a whole number, right? But you can see it's right there, halfway between 3 and 4. If I want to count the 8s, I can. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. But I'm going to write 1/2 here. Now, my whole number, what my whole number is going to be, this is more than 3, but less than 4. So I can't put 4. What I would write here is 3 1/2 inches. All right, your turn. Let's get this one out of the way and have you measure this one. How long is that line segment? This is exactly 3 inches, right? Just because we're measuring to the nearest 1/8 of an inch does not mean we have to write 1/8 of an inch, right? If it's exactly one whole, or if it's exactly a whole number, we just write that. All right, this one won't be, though. How long is that? This is 3 1/8, right? Remember, we're counting. We're not counting the teeny tiny ones this year. Those are 16ths if you want to explore those. But we're counting these right here. All right, this is going to lead us in. Why are we're talking about measuring here, but our objective is about line plots. So we are going to record some data that we're going to measure, and then put it on a line plot. Okay, and you can see our line plot standard does talk about fractional units here, which is what we're going to do. So reminding yourself about line plots, right? You saw this screen a while ago. We use the x's to show the data. We have just a horizontal axis, right? A bar graph is going to have another line that goes up here, but not a line plot. And then, of course, a title describing the information. Okay, now, Math Journal, page 264. And let me put this right here. Here's what you are going to do with Math Journal, page 264. If you have a ruler where you are, whether you're in a classroom or in your house, you should measure the insects on page 264 yourself, okay? And then label those. I like to write it right on the bug, or like right next to the bug. Okay, if you don't have a ruler, I'm going to put these up on the screen for you. And then you could write them down. But if you have a ruler in your house or wherever you're at, you are going to try to measure them yourself and then check them. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to do that. Okay, so there's all of our measurements, and then you're going to do the same thing with the bugs on the next page. All right, and now let's all fill in the same data here. So if you got a slightly different measurement, you're welcome to go back and kind of measure that again. But I want you to go ahead and fill in, let's see, I'm going to... this data, these are the measurements for all of our bugs. Okay, now we are going to create a line plot. Okay, so let's zoom in on this a little bit and get down here. Our line plot, we have to give it a title. Okay, you have to give it a title, insect lengths. Okay, because that's what this is about. When you are choosing the numbers to put down here, we want to start with the smallest one. Which bug, there were a couple of them, right? Which bug was the smallest measurement? Okay, boreal firefly, ladybug, and Indian meal moth. If you mentioned any of those, you were right. And so we started with 3/8. Then we're going to count by eighths. Right? 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. This is 8/8 or 1 whole, 1 1/8, 1 2/8, and so on. Okay. Now, if there is something that we don't have, right? Like, let's see, do we have? Nothing is 4/8. Nothing is exactly half of an inch. We still write it down here, guys. Right? It's going to be open. There's going to be nothing there, but we still write it down. So now we're going to create our line plot, and I'm going to get you started, but you're going to finish. Here's what you should do. We should start with the very first one, short-tailed dusk darter dragonfly. Wow, what a name. 1 6/8. You're going to put an X down there on 1 6/8, and then I want you to cross that off. You cross it off so that you know you have recorded it. If you don't, most of the time you skip one or you do one twice. This is your check. Boreal firefly. Boom. Okay. Then yellow bumblebee, 6/8. All right. I've got to cross it off. You keep going and do the rest of these and put them all in your line plot. You're going to need this in a minute. All right, now what we're going to do is to answer some questions with our data. Okay, so our data, we're going to take that and we're going to use it to answer some questions, right? This is what like a scientist might do, right? Collect data on insects and then analyze that data. So I'm going to leave number 1 for you to do, right? Your favorite one and your least favorite. And then the combined length. What does the word combined tell you that you're going to do? You're going to add those two bugs' lengths, right? You know how to add mixed numbers. What is the difference? What does that word tell you to do? Always. I hope you said subtract, right? Whenever you have to find the difference, whenever you're comparing two things, right, you have to find the difference between them. Not like one bug is green and one bug is blue, but the difference in length, right, to subtract. Okay, then now I'm going to help out with a couple of these here. Let's do number 3 together. How many insects are longer than 7/8 of an inch and shorter than 1 6/8 inches? Okay, longer than 7/8. So we are not going to count 7/8 or anything on that side of it. Then shorter, also shorter than 1 6/8. So we're not going to count those. So we're going to count these, the ones that are between there. Well, how much are they? We have one, well, how many? There's 1, 2, 3 of those. And so our first answer is going to be 3 insects. What is their combined length? So you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the 3 lengths together. 1, 1 2/8, and 1 4/8. 1, 1 2/8, 1 4/8. You know, I don't mind you stacking 3 numbers. Once you start stacking 4 or 5, that's usually leads to doom. So break those up into, add 2 of them and then add the other 2 and then add the 2 sums together. Okay, we add those up and we can get 3 6/8. If you want to write that as 3 3/4 because that's reduced, you can. But this was going to be fine as well. 3 6/8. And where do we put that? We put that right here. 3 6/8. Okay, so you have some questions here, and then I think there's a few that I probably don't have on the screen. You're going to be working on Math Journal page 267. Of course, you need your line plot done already, but we already did that together, so hopefully that's already finished. But if it's not, you gotta go back and do that. All right. 4th graders, that is all today. We went over, first we reviewed measurement, right? Or measurement skills to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. Then we took that data and put it into a line plot. If you have any questions, reach out and let me know. Enjoy the bugs. Good luck.